Hello friends, James Corbett here, CorbettReport.com, with your thought for the day, 18th of August, 2015. Just a couple of months ago, we had another edition of the Truth Music series that people who have listened to the Corbett Report for any length of time will know is a regular, or at least an occasional, feature on the podcast. In the past, I've had various podcasts playing different truth music, i.e. music spreading awareness to some of the issues that we cover here on the Corbett Report through the medium of music, something that we covered in the latest New World Next Week with that activist song about Unilever and its crimes against India, and how that can spread a message worldwide and get lots of people excited about an issue that they otherwise wouldn't get excited about. As I've said and have argued for a long time, truth music is a great way of spreading awareness and information on these issues. So I do try to highlight some of the independent artists that are making music that's worth listening to on these themes and on these ideas. So back a couple of months ago, I had another edition of this series where we highlighted a few different independent artists, but the response to that was overwhelming. I mean, just in the comment section of Corbett Report alone, there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of links to all sorts of different music acts, just too many to possibly go through. Also, I've received dozens of emails from artists all over the world who are looking to get some awareness and attention to their music. So there is definitely a need out there for more of a focus on this. And obviously, I don't think the Corbett Report is necessarily set up to be that focus or nexus, but it's just an idea out there that we'll return to at the end of this video. Let's just go through a few of the suggestions, just some of the suggestions. We obviously can't go through all of them, and even the ones we are going to go through, we can't listen to all of them. But let's go through some mainstream label music first. Some suggestions that I can't really play the audio because I'm sure YouTube won't like that because of the intellectual property fairy tale, but one that I have to bring attention to, or otherwise Brock West will be angry at me, is one of his favorite bands, perhaps his favorite band, an Australian band that is now defunct, but was working to bring truth through some mainstream music, Cog. For example, Are You Interested, and other works of theirs that definitely, as you can see, revolved around some of the themes we talk about here on the Corbett Report. Definitely worth checking out. Someone sent in The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again, and I think the title, if nothing else, is self-explanatory there. Someone else suggested Two Cellos covering Michael Jackson's They Don't Care About Us. Again, I think the title being evident as to why this was suggested for the Truth Music series. Someone else suggesting Frank Zappa, I'm the Slime. Why not? I'll throw a little bit of Zappa in there to weird up the day. But after all of that mainstream music that we can't play, let's listen to a little bit of music that we can actually play by independent artists. For example, Herschel 36, You Got a Way of Thinking.
The United Kingdom will continue to deliver on its long-term
My head is banging and I can't get back to sleep. Just like an addict who is desperately in need. Interfusion from the top down to my feet. The blood inside me starts to pump as I repeat. Come on, you got a way of thinking. I got a way of thinking. We got a way of thinking and you got it wrong.
Russia and Ukraine. Iran.
I try to not want.
All right, I think you get the idea there. Again, we can't listen to all of these songs all the way through, but if you do like what you hear, the links to all of these songs will be in the show notes for this, so please do click down. If you're on YouTube, look at the video description. The show notes will be there. Let's move on to 6 Foot Joe, who has an entire album up here on the website. Again, the link will be in the show notes, and all of the lyrics here as well. And I like the upbeat first track here, Captain America.
Now when they gun down
right. Well, perhaps more appropriate to actual Americans in the crowd, but still, thank you for sending that in, 6 Foot Joe. Moving right along, there's this. I don't even know exactly what this is, but apparently this is a musician who was visiting or passing through Jekyll Island and decided to get out his magic solar Suat case and just started live mixing this jam.
Any drop of water, any drop of water, any drop of water can realize. Any drop of water, any drop of water can realize it's the whole ocean, yeah. Evaporate and form the unknowable cloud. Evaporate and form the unknowable cloud. Any drop of water, any drop of water can.
And eventually he starts, freestyling a little bit about the Federal Reserve, which is appropriate, of course, on Jekyll Island. And if you don't know Jekyll Island and its significance for the Federal Reserve, please do check out Century of Enslavement, CorbettReport.com/Federal Reserve. So thank you for sending that in. Next, we'll move on to The Ancient Order, which has a few tracks up here on their page. Again, link in the show notes. But let's just listen to a little bit of Revolution. Somber tune, but very apt, I think, in a lot of ways. Let's move on to Mr. Yen on SoundCloud, who has a lot of different tracks here, including some colorfully named ones, but let's just listen to a bit of No More Uncle Sam.
Documents newly released by NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden reveals the United States spied on Muslims in the country, not suspected of crimes.
The enemy wants to infiltrate our ranks. One of the ways in which the enemy infiltrates the ranks is to try to get spy. There was a young man in Miami, and then the FBI approached him.
If you want to find out what happened to that young man, I suggest you listen to the full track. Moving right along to the May Company, which has this full album available for listening on SoundCloud, Bully Boy with a Glass Eye. Let's just listen to a bit of Plump Little Fleshies.
Go dancing, all the plump little me's in a row. All of the plump little fleshies go dancing, head to head, toe to toe, head to head, toe to toe. Ooh, consuming's all we know.
right. I really like the production on that one, and I like the description here. It's neo-psychedelic garage rock for the teenage soul, indeed. Well, let's move on to this Puppet Master by Waterstyle 612.
Slave master, the same bastard keeps us shackled like slaves in debt. So what's next? I'm on deck. They got us on the forefront, dancing to the war drum like dum diddy dum. Puppet master, slave master, the same bastard keeps us shackled like slaves in debt. So what's next? I'm on deck. They got us on the forefront, dancing to the war drum. Don't be a dum dum. I'm not your pop girl, man. I'm not that icky girl. I spit them vicious lyrics about the heretics running the world. Don't need no rainbow makeup, no clown weave in an age of holographic MCs within an nanny state of mind where studio gangsters feed corporate rhymes to the minds of the masses.
All right, nice flow there, but we'll cut it short. We'll move along to Iron Age Mystics with Information Outlaw.
Information outlaw. You hack in your ticket, then you give it. You're an information outlaw. 'Cause you confound the man. All by yourself, disseminating it right. I got kiss and tell. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, boy. Big bro says you're a bad, bad boy. One more preach to the band. Information outlaw.
If that song sounds familiar, well, it should. It was used as a bumper song on one of my previous podcasts, and as always with all of my bumper music on my podcast, I'll always include the link to the song so that you can go and find the artist there. So if you ever are listening to the podcast and wonder at the end of the podcast who that song is by, just go to the show notes and it should be linked up in there. Let's go to Stream of Consciousness on SoundCloud, and they have a track called The Project for the New American Century.
Was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot.
Lies.
I'm conscious and tuning aware. It's a new year. Congress is still spreading doom and fear. False prophets say the apocalypse is looming near. In the distance zooming to a new century where warfare is big business and shit's booming. Penitentiaries and courtrooms are filling. Can I get a witness to two in? The wicked harbor aspirations to weaponize the stars. Section 5 and election lies. Can you recognize the Zords? Setting on foreign policy. With the queen on a living war in a rock they scheme. New world order philosophy. A hostile regime who flew to new borders. Stormed them to call it transformative democracy. I call it what it is. Westward expansion. Manufacturing weapons.
All right, again, sick flow, but unfortunately, again, we do not have time to even listen to a handful of these. I mean, there's so many different tracks that people have recommended that, again, I would suggest probably the best thing to do is to go scroll through the comment section of Last Truth Music and take a look at some of the dozens of suggestions that are up there. But having said that, obviously there is a need, a gaping hole in the alt media to feature on a regular basis this type of independent music. And I don't know, I find myself wishing there was a podcast that was devoted just to featuring underground independent music from a truth perspective. Oh wait, maybe there is. People, of course, I hope will know MediaMonarchy.com, James Evan Pilato's website, where he has Pump Up the Volume, a regular podcast now up to its 171st episode, featuring whatever is spinning on James Evan Pilato's plate these days, musically speaking. Usually a lot of independent and underground music, and often, you know, things with a bit of a truth message to them. Not always, but often he'll throw things like that in there. He'll also do interviews with bands and talking about music a lot. So I don't know. I haven't talked to James about this, but maybe if you do have music that you think would make a good fit for that podcast, you can at least send it his way and maybe have him take a listen to it, and he might feature it on his regular Pump Up the Volume podcast, which might be more fitting of a setting than this type of truth music occasional video or podcast that I put out. Anyway, I do appreciate appreciate all the artists that are out there doing this. It is so important to spread this information in as many ways as possible. That's why I always tip my hat to the people who are spreading this information in creative ways that will get the attention of people who don't like sitting through documentaries or podcasts or what have you, who just want a nice song to bob their head to and, hey, maybe learn something while they're doing it. I think it's a great way of spreading the word. So again, if you have suggestions, please do leave them in the comment section and get other people listening and spreading the word about this music. This is the way it's going to function, peer-to-peer, in the underground, in the alt media. Once again, James Corbett, CorbettReport.com. Looking forward to talking to you again real soon.